Hey, Bob, I'm going to bring you over. Howdy, Bob.
There we go. How are you?
Very well. How are you?
Well, I'm doing well, thank you. Everybody staying healthy and
Trying really hard, yes.
how are the kids?
Well, Francis, oh wait, you had a daughter who was in Africa, right?
Yes, Tanzania.
That's right. Oh, look at that little one.
Wow.
What?
Now we've got some intelligence here. We're going to get some good input today.
What a cutie patootie. What's his name? I'm assuming it's a he with the blue bib, but I shouldn't assume. Wait, Tim, we can't hear you.
Sorry, his name's Isaac.
Isaac, oh my goodness. Now that is joy right there. Right there. Lovely.
Not as happy as he was with the Comcast remote a couple seconds ago.
You probably
found
looking
an Xbox controller.
More business. Yeah, let's have some fun.
Doesn't usually see screens yet, so this is very interesting for him. Did watch the inauguration, which was funny because he really liked the musicians, and then as soon as Biden stopped speaking, he just crawled out of the room.
Oh, that is hilarious. So sweet. Too funny. Hey, Tina. Oh my gosh. I think, and how quickly they grow. I hate to be that sentimental person, but man, it goes by so quickly. Now, how old is Isaac?
He is 13 months.
Okay, lovely. So sweet.
Yeah.
So, anyway, is your son still in Africa? Did he go to Africa?
He was in Africa. Yeah, he was in Madagascar, Tanzania, but then he had to come home when he was in Colombia. And it got dicey because I think he had one day to get out and it was just crazy. Oh, yeah. But the poor kid has been home nearly a whole year now as a 20-year-old. Can you imagine still being in your parents' house at 20 and like, no. I feel for him, but he's at Santa Clara, so he took a gap year and was in Africa and South America.
Okay.
And then but I'm hoping Santa Clara will open up in March and he'll get to go.
So my oldest daughter is the associate superintendent in the San Jose Diocese.
No kidding.
And she's going to be teaching a course at Santa Clara this summer.
Oh my gosh, our worlds keep colliding, Bob. That is crazy.
Yeah, she's
fantastic.
Yeah. So if you ever need anything or connection, she's as I said, she's got responsibility for 30 schools in the diocese. So it's
wow.
I commiserate with her on she's teaching me the issues of schooling.
Give me strength. I tell you.
That's where that is.
They do grow up quick, huh?
They do. Oh my goodness. Now, Tim, is that your only child so far? Okay, yeah. Lovely. So good times. Yeah.
Well, it's been interesting because he was born probably 2 months before everything went crazy.
Yeah.
So I probably got to spend more time with him than I would have otherwise.
So that's a blessing.
Yeah. And he's honestly, I don't say this to many people because he's probably the easiest baby I've ever met. He started sleeping through the night 3 weeks in.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. And like for
knock
10
on
hours.
Wood, dude, knock on wood.
I know.
And don't jinx yourself.
I know. He threw his first tantrum the other day, so we're getting to the top phase now.
Yeah, well, we'll check in when he hits 2 years old and see how things are still hanging.
Yesterday he wouldn't take anything from me that I was giving for food. So, but today he was all about it. So 24 hours.
Oh dear. Good times, good
So
times.
also we had the board meeting, which they voted to move us into the next phase this
Oh,
morning.
That was this morning. Okay, fantastic.
I'm still kind of in it. They haven't finished wrapping up.
Talking about now, what's left to talk about? They were on engagement celebrations for MSBA staff when I logged off.
They did a little bit about they've commissioned a study about enrollment numbers. So they did that. They also looked at their projections for 2021, 2022, and 2023 commitments. And right now they're doing kind of their audit of their internal expenditures. I think a fun tidbit was they asked their landlord not to escalate their rent, but the
I
landlord
heard that,
refused. Yeah. So yeah, board business. But
Yeah.
frankly, I am just keeping kind of a foot in that realm.
Oh, goody. Thank you.
So they're discussing, they're reevaluating the enrollment projections, is that?
No. They're trying to figure out if their current process for figuring out enrollment projections is really the right formula that they should be using. And I think there's concerns for two reasons. One is COVID, and how that might affect things going forward, because a lot of school districts, people have either moved out of the district. And then there was a little bit of conversation about, well, what about school choice and people who are choosing to educate their kids in places other than public schools, and how does that factor in? So what they've decided is that their formula works for now, and they're going to reevaluate next year after sort of the effects of COVID start to play themselves out.
I think one of the things they're starting to
Now, is there any chance that our numbers would be reevaluated, or no, that is set in stone?
no, they wouldn't not at this point.
Stone might be too expensive, but it's definitely set.
Okay. Fair enough. And can someone keep an eye on the panelist list or whatever, because if anyone's waiting to get in, because I'm sharing my.
Mike Quinlan is waiting to get in.
Okay, well then I will. I'm glad I said that, and here he is.
But one thing we could say is, even with this project's challenges, at least we're not East Gloucester, where they have a lawsuit with the MSBA named as a co-defendant from the people they're trying to take land from. So it could be worse.
It could be worse, I suppose.
Hold that thought, Michael. Hold that thought.
Please.
We're not done yet.
Yeah, I know.
No kidding. Oh my Lord. Hey, Mike, it's nice to see you. Thanks for joining us.
No problem. Glad I could make it this week.
Yeah, no, that's great. So, folks, I'm sorry about last week, but I'm sure it was well received in terms of just a little bit of a breather space. So let me share my screen. I thought we'd go right into first item on the agenda, and that is the post-Wheelock Neighborhood Traffic Forum thing. When I was doing the minutes, oh wait, Gina or Lynn, oh, neither are here. For that February flyer, which I will share now, and this is just a rough draft, so please take it under that. Please note that this is, Gina mocked this up, and you guys, you don't see anything, do you? Can you see my screen now?
Mhm.
Okay, let's see if that'll open up. Essentially, what we've got coming up, Megan Sullivan sent us the stuff for the sustainability. That's going to be in the paper today. This kind of saved the date for her for that forum, sustainability forum. And then Tim Baker, thank you for putting that postcard together for social media. I think if we can do those final tweaks and maybe get that out today, that would be awesome.
That's my plan, to do it after this meeting.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
Do you want me to post it with that, like include the press release, like above it?
Yes. To
Okay.
contextualize it, I think that would be really great. And she had some edits on there, so I think that would be helpful. But I'm wondering, it was interesting and that is, Megan had mentioned to me, she called me up and she said, you know what, Anna Mae?
Tim Knight's in the audience.
Oh, okay. Maybe I should give somebody else sharing. Okay, great. I appreciated it because Megan called and said that, hey, Tim, that she didn't feel that people in town really knew what was going on. She felt that people still think Dale is being built at Dale, you know, and she said the logo, we're using that logo that shows the pillars. I mean, it's a beautiful logo. I love what Janie did for us. But she said that just reinforces the Dale on Dale Street. And maybe we should consider adding elm or something or other on it. And so, because she said, and she mentioned a couple of names and prominent individuals in town who had no idea of what's going on. And I thought, what else can we do to get the information out there? You know, and these are totally in tune people. And I thought, oh my gosh, we've got an uphill battle. So I'm wondering if we do a little recap of, do we either do a recap of where we've been and where we're going, or do we just in February put out, here's the traffic, study update, and, here's the model school update. But what do you guys think as the next steps? And I'll share that February mock-up that Gina did for us. And it's not coming up. Jesus, Mary and Joseph, help me.
Anna, I have it up on my screen if it's helpful.
I think it's down. I think I see it down there on your download. Like, is it one of those PowerPoints?
Okay, let's see if that works. Oy vey. Oh, clever. Thank you. All right, so then do this. Okay, so this is a rudimentary mock-up, but how do you guys feel about, we've actually had big things happen, in terms of the traffic study forum. I thought it was awesome. The chief of police was there. I thought she added, great input. And then the model school discussion we just had and the reasons why we're not going with the model school. I think that's important to get out there. But is this? I'm
not so sure about that model school portion of what you just said. That
okay.
To me, that was, and I guess we'll play it by ear in case it gains further traction through patch articles or whatever, concerned citizens pages or whatever. But to me, that was a bit of a thing we needed to chase down. We chased it down to satisfy selectmen in town, and I think we did that, at least for the time being. The general public, I don't even think is aware that we were even looking into it. So I don't know that we want to, sort of create more questions by continuing to address something that we're not getting questions on. That's my take, but I don't know if anybody disagrees with that.
No, actually, Mike, I would agree. It was, we've expressed in these meetings that this is a dynamic process. That's the term I like to use. And there's going to be a lot of ins and outs.
Yeah.
And I think, the significant items will be voted on, but the process itself, went through it. The selectmen were engaged, the school committee was engaged. And so I would agree. I'm listening to Anna Mae's comments that Megan provided. From a practical point of view, there's only so much you could put out in terms of the effort to communicate. And frankly, the best supplement, in my judgment, is what Megan's doing. And it's what we all should be doing, which is talking to people. I know my wife, she has a lot of friends in town. and when she walks or she's talking to people, she tells them, what's going on, and she has observations not dissimilar from Megan. Is some people don't know, but the information's available. It's in the papers, it's in this, and I think we've got a nice rollout plan to communicate the activity that's by the committee. So we're not generating information. We're putting out the information that's coming from the Dale Street committee, Mike's committee, and I think that these monthly publications and the publicity through the patch and through the paper are good. But I think it's the verbal discussion that brings people to that is what's really helpful. But I'm not sure that there's more formal things to be done. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bob. I mean, you can lead a horse to water, but sooner or later, we can't sit in front of people and force them to read the stuff we put out. So unfortunately, during these COVID times, there are no major public events that we could gather and get a lot of eyes and ears. So I think we have to continue what we're doing. We have obviously a series of public forums where we got to plan just to keep the public up to speed on things. We have our regular meetings that are publicized, maybe a little bit less so than the public forums. And then we've got social media and things like that. So I think maybe the only other thing I could think of would be to see what other boards like the school committee or things like that may want to provide an update, and whether it's me joining a school committee meeting and providing an update for people who are paying attention there, because I know that has a lot of eyes and ears on it right now, or even just or even Anime, since you're part of the school committee, just sort of reporting on the school project and providing those milestones that we've achieved and what the process looks like going forward. And so getting some of those other relevant committees that may have the public's attention right now will help to sort of cross communicate between them. I think would be a good thing.
Tracy's in the audience, just FYI.
Oh, all right. I got it. Thank you.
I think just to add to that is, we had a really very informative session with the Attorney General's office in terms of how to proceed with communication, and it was very clear that we are an information body, not an advocacy. So we advocate. We don't advocate. We inform, and the challenge, I think, from a practical perspective, is the only other information that's coming out is coming from a group that's against what's being pushed. So the Dale at Dale group, as we're all familiar, and not to make any judgment on that, but it's not our role to respond to a group that's advocating for another position.
Correct.
And I think that's the trick. As to your point, Mike, if there's another organization that wants to get involved and advocate for the location at Wheelock, then that's a different discussion. But I don't think it's appropriate for this group.
Yeah, the only thing we want to make sure is that some of the misinformation that's being shared is corrected. Such that people are getting the correct information, the factual information. Not opinion-based stuff, not in a sort of defensive way. It's more of just like, these are the facts. The facts should be coming from this committee. And then, we'll leave the opinions to there's at least 2 PACs that I'm aware of that have been formed to advocate opposite sides of this question.
And I agree with that. I think that when we put these updates out, we should be sure that we're aware that we're informing the right information and be cognizant that if there is misinformation, we should have the right information put in these monthly updates. So I agree with that. That's not advocacy. That's just correct presentation.
Yeah, just one comment, and I think a balance. Anna Mae, what you said a few minutes ago, there was a reason originally it was called, the Dale Street School Project, but it does create confusion because it's a new school that what this project is. If you see it, the Dale Street School, you would imply, well, it's going to be on Dale Street.
Exactly.
This is something that the MSBA deals with all the time, because often when you're combining schools, or if you're building a new building, you want to rename it. So I think I would suggest also talking to the school committee to figure out sort of what the right approach for that would be, that the entire community feels comfortable with.
Right, but in terms of, are there MSBA kind of regulations where we have to, and I know we've got a longer process to think about that on school committee, but for example, the Dale Street project on Elm Street or something or other, are we allowed to use a little byline, for example, just to clarify, again, just again, the fact is, if it is going to be built, it will be on Elm.
Well, I think perhaps that maybe the genesis of the name, and Mike, you might know better, is just that the warrant article that kicked this off talked about the Dale Street School and either replacement or
right, because that's
so I think that was where it went.
Name.
Yeah, it's just a name. So I don't know that there's anything legal tied to it. And as you say, maybe as it's going forward, the school committee or would have an idea of a better or appropriate name. I don't know.
So I believe the school committee has the jurisdiction in terms of naming of the school. Obviously, that is going to be, I think, not a simple process. I think it's something that the community is going to want to engage in. But I believe that process, unfortunately, is probably not best started until after the project is approved at town meeting. So in the interim, there's definitely a way, I think, Anna Mae, to sort of clarify and envision some way of clearing it up that people understand that while it's currently called the Dale Street School, the current plan for it, the proposed plan for it that we'll present in the fall, does have it moving to Wheelock.
Okay.
Yeah, debating too, not to belabor it, but like if we do a monthly update, new school project update, it just, I'm not sure, Mike, if that crosses a line. That's what it is. The town is voting on a new school.
Correct. Yeah, and I don't know if you touched on it before I got on, but the MSBA board did vote to approve the project this morning before this meeting. So we are advancing into the next phase, and so it's now the next major milestones are getting the design and budget together for submission to the MSBA in the summertime, get their approvals, and then fall town meeting. So those are the key next milestones. And we've certainly got a lot of decisions to make in the next couple of months, especially surrounding sustainability and whether we pursue net zero. Obviously, that's a policy decision by the Board of Selectmen. Gathering that information is going to be key over the next couple of months. And then making some other decisions about some of the alternates and other things associated with the advancing the design now that we do have a final site on Wheelock for the design, and we can, Larry and his team will start to develop that design in more detail as we start to, try to, simplify the building, get it, we have some, I think, still some work to do to bring costs down. And then, hopefully this summer we get some favorable budgeting, and we can present more acceptable numbers, I guess, come the fall.
Well, Mike, I just want to say that congratulations. It's been another milestone, and it does reflect a huge amount of work and leadership on your part. But and it should be. It's noteworthy to see that the board, the school board, the selectmen all unanimously supported the activity, the action that was taken. So you and
Thanks,
you
Bob.
and the committee deserve a lot of credit. I sit on that. I don't vote. I listen.
Yeah.
But the commitment and the expertise is really, to me, we got a lot of work to do in the numbers, which is why I listen. I know that, but I will say that I get a great deal of confidence from listening into the meeting and to the team you put together. So thank you.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate that.
So, and I just say, like, one thing that I want to go back to, because I've said it before, sorry, so I'll say it again. I do think, and I'm wondering what you guys think, is it worth putting together a fact sheet that you can then send to these key folks that, Bob makes a good point about it's people talking about the project that we know in word of mouth. So like a one-page thing, especially now that we met this milestone, that you're giving to school committee members, that you're giving to the selectmen to say, here are the facts about the project. Because I think part of the misinformation on this other opposing side is that they keep pushing that it's so expensive when the costs have not really been determined. And I think it's just worth saying, here's the top, David Letterman, these 10 things. What was that list they used to do when we were young? Watch the Letterman show. Sorry, Tim, I don't want to date myself. You might not even know what that is.
He hasn't been gone that long.
It was a thing. It was a thing when we were younger, the top 10. And anyway, and then it could be something that Anime you send out to like the influencers. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I just want to give this to you. As we go into this next phase, here's where we are, the top 10 things you need to know. And it's like very factual. And kind of, we can go, I know I could use it because sometimes I get into discussions and I'll be like, oh, let me, I'm trying to get on my phone to look, and I'll have to remind people that the cost is not finalized.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, Tracy, in terms of, sort of an executive summary of, sort of where we stand.
I like that.
But we also, just as an FYI, we also, we regularly get a monthly report from our OPM. So feel free to distribute that. That kind of has, sort of what the milestones that were achieved in the previous month. And we're already getting it. It's something that's easily distributed. But I think what Tracy's talking about is also valuable, sort of in a little bit of a different fashion. So I think that's something that can be put together pretty easily.
Yeah, because Mike, we were talking about how, the updates, I think Tim Bonfatti calls it, or maybe it was Bob who dubbed it, that's the insider baseball. Sometimes it was kind of technical.
No, that's fair.
And then so we wanted to tweak this format that's already been set up, but make it more community friendly in terms of broader strokes. And so I think, Gina was working on this, but it sounds to me like today was a pivotal day. Today we've got the green light. So to me, that's the information we should be putting out perhaps in this Feb update in simple people term, in terms of the project's been officially approved. Now what's next? The design, the budget, and then to Tracy's point, I love that executive summary, the top 10 or something or other, and we can probably get that out. And I think that could look good on social media as well.
But I just want to say, I think it's something for you to send out, Anime, to
Yes.
your school committee. You want to frame the message to people. People go to school committee members and, hey, what about this project? Or to the PTO, what about this? Especially the PTO presidents of the elementary schools and the principals there, that you're framing the information and factual, that it's based in facts, and that they know what to say. And if they don't know, they could say, I don't know, I need to ask Anime. Here's the person for you to ask. But
Ask Mike.
Mike, sorry, Mike, I didn't mean to. I know you're bad. I thought that was like our job was to field some of these things. So anyway,
Right.
I think it's a great idea, but I would say this, as we go forward, the objective of this whole process is to bring information, the best information with the best solution,
Yep.
for the town's need for a school for the grades 4 and 5, and I think that what I would endeavor to do is to make this, as you said, it's a fact sheet.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not and I don't imply that you did what you're suggesting at all. I'm just wanting to reinforce my point, and I'll put myself on mute.
I know what you're going to say, Bob.
But
I
the
know you
point-
don't even
the
have to
point-
say it. I
no,
can finish it.
No, the point I'm trying to say is that what I'm trying, I'm on the warrant committee, so I have a different role, but my role is to listen, to learn, and to advise the warrant committee members that we will vote on this, that this is indeed the best solution at the best finance that the town can afford in the context of all that we're doing.
Right.
So this, and I think that what I'm, probably what concerns me the most is that this should not be personalized. And I'm not saying anybody on this side is, but it tends to get a little personal, and it shouldn't. And my advocacy would be, let's get to the town vote, to the town meetings with the best information to the most people we can, and to inform them that they know what they're voting on and why.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That may sound obvious, but you in the heat of the moment, sometimes we can kind of lose track of that. I'm the finance guy, so I'm not emotional.
So the challenge here is, there are, let's say, a handful of people that are, and maybe it's more than a handful, but there's a certain contingent that will always vote yes regardless. There's a certain contingent that will always vote no regardless. And what I see our role is trying to get those people who may not have enough information to make a decision, or who haven't been engaged, to get them as engaged as possible so that they can make an informed decision about what their opinion is. And if they decide that they want to vote against this project, then that's certainly within their rights. But I'd rather them be making that decision with as much information and data as possible, and that they understand that there is no perfect solution. There is no solution that we will get 100% support for. That's just not going to happen. So,
I agree. Better stated than I did. Yep.
Anime, if you're sharing your screen, I don't see what you're sharing.
Oh, does
Yeah,
anyone?
it just says Anna Mae O'Sheabrook has started screen sharing.
Oh, how bizarro. Okay, sorry. I'll
That's
try
okay.
this again.
So I concur. I would say, tactically speaking, I would encourage moving forward, at least with the project update, adding the MSBA approval as front and center, and then creation of this, fact sheet would follow. Because I just know the way things typically work. We don't want to do the unnatural, and I think we're trying to get into a drumbeat of about once a month, the updates
Yeah.
go out.
Yeah,
It
but
at
I
least
think-
keeps it going.
Yeah, this is natural timing, and I think, the sustainability, I really want to drive people to that forum and help Megan out to get people to go to that. So that's the immediate on our docket. And then I think getting out what's happened with the MSBA and that results in those milestones. Can Lynn, Tim, who could put a little summary of what that today entailed?
We can do that. I can do that.
Okay.
Yep, and Jeff just sent something to all parents.
Oh, fantastic.
There's an email. So I think it would be great to put it on Facebook page sooner
Can you
than
forward
later.
that email to me?
Yeah, good idea. I'll do it right now.
Great. No, that's wonderful. Super. And then the fact sheet. I like the top 10 things, and then we can maybe come up with that list.
And the fact sheet, you may be able to reuse. I know, Mike, you guys did a great job prior to it was around October or so. I'd be willing to bet some of those questions might work their way back in there.
Yeah.
For sure.
Obviously you want to modernize or update, but I think you've done a lot of the heavy lifting already.
Yeah, and it's an evolving, like an FAQ sheet is an evolving document, as you get to different phases of the project, the questions change. But then there's some base questions, like how much is this going to cost me, that we have to be consistent throughout, but the information changes, right? We learn, we get new data, we start to evolve the design, we get new estimates. Those types of things are always changing. So we want to make sure it's up to date.
Okay, that's a good point about the FAQ. Sorry, Emily, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to suggest, and this might be looking too far ahead, so bear with me. Thinking about the groups that aren't obvious that collect together. In other towns, it's been the Women of League, the League of Women Voters, or the Chamber of Commerce, or if there's other allied, not necessarily involved directly with the schools. Once I met with actually a preschool collective, right? Because their kids would eventually be in the schools. Thinking about not the usual groups that you would think of with the school project to get a greater information campaign out there to those who might not yet be paying attention. And it's similar to the sandwich board. We have usual ways of communicating, and sometimes you need to think a little beyond that to be able to reach those who you're not currently communicating with.
Yeah, I mean, there's some great constituency groups that we should reach out to sort of individually. There's things like Memo, Medfield Employers. It's basically like a Chamber of Commerce type thing. You got the Council on Aging, I think is going to be an important one. The Medfield Lions, some of the other education-based ones that are easy, there's a Medfield Foundation. There's why is it slipping my mind? But
Coalition?
MCPE. Sorry,
Yeah,
Medfield Coalition for Education. We can definitely put sort of a list together.
Oh, we've got one.
And then figure out the best way to open a dialogue with them and help distribute information to their constituencies.
Yeah, and I just want to say that we already have that list. I mean, I think we don't have
Great.
Lions on it. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I thought maybe Hannah Anderson.
Hannah Adams,
That's on it. That's on it.
Is it Adams? I think we even have the Facebook links to do. Tim has that. We've sent it to him, but
Awesome.
and we've been when it's appropriate, like the WeLock thing. I don't think we sent it to every single one of those groups. It didn't seem quite like.
Sent it to Roberta over at Council on Aging.
Yes, we tailored it to the message, but I feel like that foundation is good. That we've done. We're ready to roll on that.
Yeah, agreed.
Awesome.
Excellent. Thank
Very good. Alrighty, let me take a look at this other stuff. So model schools, we're putting that to bed.
Yep.
Noted. Great. And getting out the word. So Tim, we're going to work on that final thing so we can get that out for Megan, the little postcard. And All right. It looks like we've got our tax sheet at hand, Sustainability Forum, the MSBA announcement, and then also the top 10, and then the updated fact sheet. I think we'll put that on the next agenda to kind of revisit that.
Next month, yeah. You might also note a recap of the community forum we had last week.
Yes.
You know, I think that was important. I think that went really well. It was very pleased that the chief was able to join us. Unfortunately, I couldn't get Mo because of the snowstorm, but he's another one that will be a great resource in advising us as we go further down that route.
Okay, super. So I see that. I'm sorry I couldn't share that. Larry, did you say you had the February update? Did you say you had that or no? Sorry, I'm
Sorry, February update to.
You know, it was the graphic that Left Field put together.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I did. Hang on for a second.
No,
I had
that's
just
all
pulled
right.
it down from Google Doc.
Okay.
And if you want, I can
Anime,
share my screen.
as he's doing that, how can I see what the results or summary of that the open forum was? Because I had a warrant committee meeting that night.
Oh, yes. And so I had asked for it and now we sent the wrong link. So I'm still waiting for that proper link so that we can send it out because as Mike said, there were some great points that brought up. I thought Chief Garrett being present and her narrative was really important and added a different element to that meeting. So that needs to go out. So I'll ask Owen again. Yeah, I got the wrong one.
Thank you.
Anime, it looks like you have it up on your screen. In fact, is laying itself out better than the one. Yeah.
Oh, hallelujah. All right. So it seems to me then, from what I'm hearing here, is this February update can be a recap of the traffic forum and also the MSBA.
Yeah, the two MSBA meetings, the FAS, which is, sorry for the alphabet soup, but it's kind of indicative of the business I'm in. FAS stands for Facility Assessment Subcommittee.
Right.
Which is sort of a prelim to their board meeting where they really dig in deeper and advise the board. The board doesn't spend quite as much time digging into the details as the FAS does. So they that was kind of a key meeting, and then the board meeting this morning, obviously, which you know, I think we already talked about. So
okay, that's cool. So then it's the Feb update will then consist of those three main topics.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful.
And then looking forward, obviously, the sustainability meeting at the end of the month, and then next month you know, you can assemble that fact sheet type thing.
Yeah. And then,
So just to be clear, I'm sorry that in this will not be used then because it has the emphasis is on the model schools.
yeah, so we're going to change this.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to share it that this was the initial mock-up, but then we've decided now to just updates on the FAS, the traffic forum, and the MSBA
Good.
results today. So those three things, and then the upcoming milestones on that. So I think it's great that we're using this format that already exists, and then kind of just updating it for general public. Sorry, Tracy, did you have something?
Well, I'm just wondering how, we still haven't addressed, which we say we're going to do, and we can do it whenever, or if there's a way to integrate it as part of this, is getting more people on the email list.
Yeah.
So, because I can't remember, the last count was maybe about 350, I think. I don't know if it's changed since then. The last time Tom sent something out, I don't know, does he send you a report by any chance, how many people it goes to?
So he didn't the last time, but normally he does. So
I think that would be good for our next meeting to understand a little bit where those numbers are. I know I just checked the Facebook page. I think we're at like 323 followers. So that's, goes up probably a little bit each month. But I think if we did, we should definitely do another push somehow.
You're right.
With the February update, if we post it on the Facebook page, maybe we can share it with concerned citizens and in the text box say, to get direct emails,
Yeah.
sign up here, as part of that share. So we're not putting out another kind of just random thing.
Yep. Okay. Good point. We do want to grow that list. All
Yeah,
right.
300 is not sufficient. I mean, it's just not, it's not a good, it's the same people that's, I bet if we look, that are on Facebook. I cannot,
Right.
there's,
Yeah.
it's a
So-
much larger group that we can.
I will
get.
say that that's who's following our page, but the Facebook tracks how many people actually view the posting when it's shared.
Yes.
So we're reaching well over a few thousand
Oh, all right. Oh, that's
between
good. All right, so
concerned
that's great information. Okay.
citizens and the town's website, Facebook page always shares it too.
Oh, that's a good, okay.
That's
Thank
great. Thanks, Tim.
Phew. So the sharing of the Facebook page is really the critical point. So that worked out great. Okay.
Super.
Yeah, I mean, some people, I don't know, they're like me. I get, thousands of emails a day. And so signing up for another email list sometimes is painful. So I know some people may be resistant to actually put their email on a list to receive regular emails, but the fact that there are people viewing it
That's encouraging.
a lot more is
That is
good.
great.
Awesome. Thanks for that info, Tim. Cool. All righty. So I'm trying to think. Last thing, can we approve the December 17th and January 7th? I'm slowly getting through those minutes, people. Minutes.
Yeah, I have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Do we have a second?
I second Tim Knight.
Thank you, Tim Knight, second. And I'll do a roll call vote. Bob Sliney,
Yes.
Tim Knight,
Yes.
Tracy Rogers,
Yes.
Anna Mae O'Shea, Brooke, yes. Okay, beautiful.
Anna Mae, if I could, just one suggestion on your mailing, maybe with the pictures here, it's a little funny. We give you some pictures that are sort of an excerpt from our FAS and MSBA presentation, so it kind of reads consistent.
Beautiful, thank you.
And we can send those to you and just give a little caption.
Okay.
I think it needs a little bit of an explanatory what we're trying to do
Yeah,
with those
some
pictures.
context.
And there's an extra plural in Arrow Street, but that's just a minor thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Minor detail.
Super.
These pictures were taken out of context and stuck on this page. Previously, it had the actual new Dell Street site plan or the floor plan on the site, and these pictures are just showing various things that could be in the existing building, and they were just taken out of context.
Yeah, again, this was just a mock-up that Gina put together, so I'm thankful that Larry said, wait, I've got photos to go in there, so that's why we're so perfect.
Yeah, we'll just give it
Okay.
somewhat similar, maybe a couple of photos because people like those, but give it a
Yeah.
little context with the caption.
Okay.
The next step is we're going to try the projects.
All righty.
And your Gmail address was?
StapletonLynn@gmail.com.
Lynn, sounds like
Lynn,
you're
you're-
multitasking.
Cool.
Sorry, I'm getting my new computer set up. Sorry, I thought.
Yay.
Yeah, I know. So I started. I thought I'd muted it. Sorry.
So in an earlier photo, the picture of that aerial view
Yep,
of the location of the school,
yep.
we thought, I think we discussed before, was putting all the design of the internal piece of the building was a little bit early on that.
Premature,
But
yeah.
but if we started at this point, maybe for a couple of these updates, to have that aerial view, it will reemphasize
Yeah.
the new location
Okay.
without having to go through all this renaming. So I don't know if it's, that just might make sense because it does, I thought that aerial view gave it answered so many questions, like
Agree.
it's not taking over the soccer fields, it's leaving the open fields open, it's really not overwhelming the space, at least from my perspective. And it also says it's not at Dale Street.
Yeah, I mean, the tough part, and it's kind of, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, to a certain extent. And, that shows the massing of the building, which is really intended to show how the building sat relative to the existing school and the fields. But it doesn't show the full site development, right? It doesn't show the parking lot. So, it was serving an intended purpose, but people kind of look at it and say, well, that's not the real thing. And
Yeah.
we get it, but we've also shown site plans that show the whole thing. So, when we're only showing one image, we just have to be careful about, what that image is, what message that image is sending. So, if we do another aerial like that, we should include the parking, and the potential of, a replacement field and just sort of indicate sort of how that all works. And there's a little, there's a misperception out there that we're cutting down, the rainforest out there. And it's just we're going to be working on documenting what is coming down in terms of trees. There's a lot of just junk out there. Obviously there are some trees that will need to come down, and just sort of
You guys
document.
have a tree warden in town?
I got to check on that. I believe so. I just don't know who it is, but I'll check in on that. Anyway, so now that we have we should have shortly a sort of finalized survey, and we'll have an idea of what really is there, what really does need to come down. But also I think we need to be communicating, and I've talked to Larry about this offline, like we need to be communicating how we're repopulating this site with trees, probably far more than we're actually cutting down, and things like that. So so my only caution, I think, in regards to what images we're putting on this distribution is that if we're only putting one image, that, we try to make it as, as full a picture of the project as possible. And I know that it's difficult to do that with one image. But I agree with you, Bob, that, to me, when you saw that the massing on the site, it really gives you a better understanding of where the building is sitting relative to the existing conditions, and how far set back it is from any neighbors. Matter of fact, the closest neighbors are actually across the railroad tracks and not the other direction. So, it really gave a clearer picture of sort of where this building is going to go. But that said, we should be showing as much as possible, the site development, because there are some other areas that will be affected, and we want to make sure we're being open about that.
So maybe at this point, we should update that if people are finding it really helpful in terms of understanding. But we can update, because I agree that was done pretty quickly and is actually a snapshot from a video, because we were doing that
The
Yeah.
drone.
circle around,
Yeah.
if you remember.
I was just looking at that video as we were talking. I was looking at the video. It gives you, and because I looked at the January update was the aerial view from one side. The video shows it on the other. My weighing in, I like the way you're doing it. We have, 3 pictures, but one could always be like an aerial. And it does represent modernized with the pictures we're looking at now.
Yeah, so we could update that just so there's no concerns that we're
Oh, good. Thank you, Larry.
not showing things accurately.
That'd be very
Um,
helpful.
And given that, I think we had a motion to adjourn and we kept going in the middle, and I didn't want to bring it up, but then as I was just doing that quick research, the website does, and Mike, you probably know, it calls it the elementary school project over and over. So, I would just gradually think, I don't know why you couldn't choose to provide an update on that same elementary school.
What do you guys think? Mike, what do you think about that?
I mean, I'm fine with it. I don't know what the right terminology is.
Yeah,
You know,
I just wanted to plant that seed because it really stopped me in my tracks when
Yeah.
you said that to me. And I thought, gosh, she's really right. It's just a different way to look at things.
no, it's absolutely right. And I personally don't know what the right answer is right now about what the terminology should be. So, you know, I'm open to any suggestions, and you know, whatever you guys think is the best way to communicate that.
Okay. I think it was good that we planted the seed today,
Yeah.
and we'll put that on the agenda for next week, and then we can kind of macerate on that
Perfect.
and maybe come to the table with some ideas.
It's a big word at the end of a meeting.
I think that Anime, you need to discuss it with more people.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a big, I could not vote on something like that in this little committee based on our group think. It's just not broad enough for me to feel.
No, exactly. And that's our task. So we planted the seed, and talked to other people, just like Megan did. And and I thought that, she came with some ideas and just,
The one question I had is, and I know I was in late, so I can call you afterwards, but what is the card that we're sending out? We're sending a card out?
No, it's just the social media postcard that Tim Baker puts together, for the.
It's not
an
actual
actual
thing that we're paying for. It's something that will be a post.
Yeah.
Digital,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, digital. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to double check that.
For the sustainability public forum on.
So, but just having said that, if another group comes to us and wants us to post something that has to do with Dale Street School, with the elementary or whatever we call it, we're going to say yes.
Yeah.
No matter. So
No,
it's open.
well, the sustainability subcommittee is part of the.
Yes. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. All right. Shows.
Yeah.
No. Okay. All right.
It's a different entity, but we're supporting the same.
That
entity.
makes sense to me. Okay. All right.
It's a separate subcommittee of the school building committee.
Okay. Sorry.
That's okay.
Hence why I need that fact sheet. Maybe it needs to be the top 11. Sorry. I do not know of all of these public.
I know it is. It's confusing. It is confusing.
It's a big effort, which is why I appreciate all the work you guys are doing.
Yeah.
All right. Great. All right.
Motion to adjourn, people.
Thank you.
All righty. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Be well.
Is it so moved, or are you making a motion?
Did you get a vote?
Oh, yeah. So, all right. Who moved? Who's got my motion?
I second.
Second. Okay. So, oh, look at the baby. So, Bob Swiney, has he left?
Yes.
Oh, good. Thank you. Tim Knight
Yes.
and Tracy Rogers.
I think she left.
Oh, yes. Anna Mae O'Shaybrook. Yes. All right. All
right.
right, folks. Bye,
Thanks,
Isaac.
everybody.
Thanks, Mike.
Ciao. So-
Thank you.
Take care.
Ciao. How do I get out? Stop share. Thank you, everyone.